I call this May the 5th Planning Board meeting to order. The first item on our agenda will be the addition or any deletions to the agenda. And there was one that was neglected. We have a new member to be sworn in tonight, Mr. Sean Marr, and over here on our right. And so I would like to add that swearing in process as item 4, as item 3A.
So moved.
Have a motion, you hear a second? Got a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, is there any other additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? If not, I would entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it's unanimously approved. At this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Sean Marr to our planning board. And at this time, if you would, I would ask you to go ahead and read the swearing in paper.
Sure, thank you. I, Sean Marr, do solemnly and sincerely affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government hereof, and that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of my knowledge and ability. I, Sean Marr, do solemnly affirm that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Union County Planning Board.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
And you will be a voting member tonight, and so feel free to participate.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, you've had an opportunity to look over the December minutes. Yes. That's exactly right. All right. In order to have a full board, because we'll have 7 tonight, the word escapes me. Please help me. Alternate member. Do I hear a motion that we have our alternate?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. In that case, you're all with us. Okay. Do I hear a motion on the approval of the minutes as presented? All right. We have a motion. Do we hear a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, like sign. And the minutes are approved. At this time, we have a rezoning petition from the Union County Planning Division. It's requesting a rezoning classification from L1 light industrial to RA40 residential agricultural containing 2 acres being on tax maps 01-138-005 and number 01-138-05A, which is located off of Army Road, being within the New Salem Township. I'd like to ask the staff at this time if they would like to come forward and to talk. Lee, would you like to give us some specifics on this?
Yes, sir. Again, as you stated, this is a rezoning request from light industrial to residential agricultural. I actually have, let me pass these around. These are, I got them. Staff report. Thank you, Brian. Again, this involves, do you guys have your screens on in front of you?
Mine's not.
Hopefully you'll be able to see this. If not, it's on the screen behind you.
Screens come on.
We're on.
There we go.
We're
You're
on.
on now? All right, great.
So you see these two properties here. The green is RA 40, and those two blue squares are light industrial. And if I zoom out a little bit, Army Road, I don't know if everybody's familiar with where that is, but if you go out 218, almost all the way, actually, if you go to New Salem, which is the intersection of 218 and 205, right before you get to that intersection, just west of it, Army Road is a road on the north side. It could be off to your left if you're heading eastbound. It's right there. There's a new Dollar General that was built right at the corner. These properties are all the way up Army Road. You got to turn right, go down a private driveway, and they're right here. That's the Rocky River, and this is that's probably Stanley County right there. So you see, just give you an idea of where those properties are located. So again, they're currently zoned. They're split zones. So the majority of those properties are RA 40, but there's 2 1-acre squares in there that are light industrial. The uses on those properties are basically open land, agricultural land, single-family residential. Site acreage we put in there is 2 acres just because we're not rezoning the entire tracts, we're rezoning portions of them. Our land use ordinance today does not allow this to happen. It doesn't allow properties to have 2 zoning designations on it. This was a previous, it's been there since 1978 at least. So, you know, our ordinance allowed it then. The comp plan designation for this area is an agricultural area, so this is consistent with the comp plan, rezoning these to RA 40. Planning staff, obviously we recommend rezoning it to RA 40. This is a staff-initiated rezoning. Now, I will tell you the kind of the backstory is how this came up. We had a subdivision, a minor subdivision request on this piece of property on the north side. The property was going to be subdivided, and it was going to split that light industrial zoning district, which again, our ordinance does not allow that today. So we had to turn that minor subdivision down. And having conversations with the property owner, they never knew the property was even zoned light industrial. So, you know, just through those conversations, we've got written statements from both property owners stating they have no objection to the rezoning, that nobody was really sure, you know, exactly when and how it got rezoned to light industrial. So anyway, we've got statements from them that they're okay with it. And again, you know, you'll see in the staff report, I mean, this is a pretty straightforward rezoning. You know, there is some talk in there about it's not a conditional rezoning, that all uses allowed in RA 40 could be established on that property. That's just general language. We use that on all our straight rezoning petition or staff analysis, but in this case, don't really view it as a huge issue. As you remember last time, we had the straight rezoning, which was R40 to B2. We just wanted to point out there's a lot of uses in B2 that could go there. It's RA 40, so it's primarily going to be either residential or agricultural in nature. The plan supports both of those types of uses, so we don't really see from a staff standpoint any reason to not rezone this property. And again, everything around it is also consistent with the surrounding zoning. If I zoom out, you're going to see for a wide area, everything is zoned RA 40 with the exception of right here at the intersection of 218 and 205. That's kind of the New Salem area, commercial area. And then there's a I just noticed that there's a light industrial district there. I'm not on Sugar and Wine. I'm not sure what that is either. But as you can see, it's that's the 2 light industrial areas, so it's fairly consistent to rezone that RA 40.
Lee and I discussed this in the staff. Number one, we weren't sure why it was ever zoned light industrial. There's no telling. But we also decided that it was probably the best course of action to make this staff initiated rather than have the property owners pay a fee to rezone the property. When technically, I don't think they even wanted or cared that it was light industrial. In fact, that's why the reason we have their signature saying that they're okay with us requesting staff initiated rezoning, because I don't think they even really knew it was light industrial. So it's really more cleaning up what we think was a mistake from the beginning, that it just somehow got zoned light industrial, and it's just been that way all this time and never developed in that manner.
And this isn't an area where, you know, there's any projected water and sewer service. You know, Army Road is not a high traffic road. In fact, if you've ever seen it, I mean, it's paved, but it's, you know, it's kind of a hard, kind of a rocky pavement. It's not, I mean, it's not like 218 or even some of the other roads out there. It's pretty rough pavement, and it's really not conducive to any kind of commercial or industrial development at all. It's really more conducive to a very low density residential or agricultural pattern. So,
What's the building on the southern parcel?
yeah, I was talking to the owners over here, and apparently the south side, this piece right here, I kind of got a history lesson, I think, on that one, was that maybe there was a guy there years ago who tore apart and rebuilt cars. And that's probably, I didn't know that until tonight, and that's probably why that light industrial zoning is there. But they don't do that anymore on the property. This piece up here actually sits on top of the existing house. It was just that a portion of it, they also own this property up here, and a portion of the house was going to be cut off to stay, and a portion of it was going to be to go with the new property. So I kind of got a history lesson as to why this light industrial district may have been there tonight. This one, there's no telling, but there's no rezoning file for either one of these. They're on the old maps from 1986, I think 87. They were already there then, so we think that they were probably established at the time the county zoned the property, originally in 1978. So apparently at that time there was maybe a business that disassembled cars, and they wanted to. You may remember some of this. I don't know, but I think the idea was to zone people what they were, and you know, again, without any kind of thought for, well, let's make it non-conforming. Let's let's think about what it should be, and you know, the fact that there was a business there, you know, 30-something years ago. You could do a lot of stuff in LI, which probably wouldn't be good for that area. So,
Are you all natives? You all natives of the county? Do y'all have relatives down there?
I was born and raised in Waxhaw. My whole family's from here.
In Marshville?
Waxhaw.
Waxhaw. You're not any relation to the family who owned this previously, right?
My grandfather bought it back in 1960.
All right.
The farm at the end of Sugar and Wine. My dad bought the piece that we're asking to rezone about 10 years ago.
Okay. The reason I was saying that, I have to make light of this. I didn't want y'all to be related to the person I was going to say about. There was a gentleman who made moonshine down there, and he was probably just wanting it light industrial so he wouldn't get in trouble. He probably wanted to be rezoned correctly. And I imagine you all know what I'm talking about, correct? And who I'm talking about. Okay.
well, I mean, manufacturing, that'd be one of those things that would be, we couldn't go after them for a zoning violation.
No,
That'd be a sheriff's
probably
department
thought
issue at
that's
that
what,
point.
he probably thought that's what was going to save him from the penalty.
I don't think that technicality would have.
Right. I can see the police officer showing up. I'm zone light industrial.
When the cameras are off, I'll tell more.
If anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions for Lee? Yes.
Lee, did I understand you correctly? The county is wanting to change this.
Yes, sir.
Y'all are the ones that found this, is that right?
No, how this came about was we had a minor subdivision request for this property up here, the one kind of my cursor is hovering
I
over.
missed that.
We had a minor subdivision request, and we had to turn it down because part of that minor subdivision encompassed the light industrial tract. it encompassed both those zoning districts, and our ordinance does not allow that anymore. You can't split zone a parcel. So we informed the applicant of that. This has been going on for several months, and trying to figure out how we were going to help these folks get their property rezoned to get a house built out there. And just through talking to them, we kind of, and I knew that these properties were out here just from seeing them, in the time I've worked here, and never really paid much attention to it. And I just asked the question one day, well, why is that light industrial district there? And nobody knew. And in fact, this one, like I said, there's a portion of a house that sits under that light industrial, so it really makes absolutely no sense. So I talked to Brian. We talked to both property owners and asked them, what if there's a business that was going to be affected, and the answer was no. And so we got a letter from both of them stating that they were okay with it. We didn't feel like, since we really couldn't answer the question as to why the light industrial was out there, and it was really hindering them from doing something that otherwise would have been legal, didn't really feel like it was more of a punishment for them to have to pay an application fee and come before the board to be able to subdivide their property. So we decided to do it as staff initiated.
I think Everett's told us why, so.
And I'm assuming these folks here are owners of the property, correct? One owner of the property. And y'all have no objection to this? Okay. All right. Any further questions for Lee or for the Presley family?
Just going to ask if the chairman would entertain a motion to approve.
All right. I have a motion to approve the restated change from light industrial to RA40 general residential and agricultural. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Lee. And thank you all for coming tonight also. Well, now that we're through that extremely strenuous and contested.
Time for a
hotly
drink.
contested-
Open that still back up.
No, I've got a very short staff report in progress. We'll be having some more text amendments coming before this group. We've identified some others we're working on. I think as we pointed out early on, anytime you have a new zoning ordinance, as you work through it, you're going to identify things that were either typos or left out or things that didn't work like you thought they would work. So we got some additional things coming back to you. That's one thing. We're in the process working with our consultant that developed the ordinance to also do a administrative guide or developer's guide that would be a guide to the ordinance to help people better understand it and to be a guide to go like hand in glove with that. So we're working on that over the next couple of months. And then hopefully if our budget goes through as proposed now, we'll be doing a lot of small area planning come July. And that's about the extent of the things that are in progress right now. Brian, do you have anything you need to add?
We had the public hearing on the text changes with the commissioners. They'll likely take action on it at their next meeting. That's usually the way they handle decisions on that. But everything went fine. There were no real questions about the text changes.
Thank you.
This time then, Lee, do you have anything?
No, sir.
At this time, I'll entertain any brief comments or a motion to adjourn, whichever one you prefer.
So moved.
All right.
That was a brief comment.
All right, brief comment.
I just wanna, I'd like to welcome Sean to the board
Oh, yes.
and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
All nights will not be this easy.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to wish Russell a safe trip to Florida. He's headed down in a pretty strenuous situation. And I think we ought to all keep he and his family in our prayers.
And if I could, just briefly, just want to say thank you to everybody, meeting you all tonight, and looking forward to the next 3 years. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All those in favor, and I'm not following parliamentary procedure of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All right.